What's up guys, new day, new car, time for Just Drive. Today with the Skoda Enyaq, and I know a lot of you have been eagerly waiting for it, and rightfully so, because I think this might be the better ID4. Why is that? We'll get to that in a second. Let's roll.
Just a few weeks after the market launch of VW's ID4, Skoda is sending its Czech sibling Enyaq onto the road. But unlike its German brother ID4, the Enyaq is not built in Saxony, China or North America, but at Skoda's main plant in Mladá Boleslav in the Czech Republic.
The Enyaq is probably one of the most important cars for Skoda in recent years, and you could say it's actually the first real electric car by Skoda. And quite fittingly, the name Enyaq comes from the Irish word Enya, and that means source of life. Of course, before the Enyaq there was the Citigo eIV, but that one was still based on VW's MQB platform. And that's a platform that was used for combustion engine cars. This one, the Enyaq, now sits on the new MEB platform, just like the VW ID4, and that platform was specifically designed for all electric cars. And that's why on paper the ID4 and the Enyaq look quite similar.
At market launch in April, Skoda offers the Enyaq in 3 different versions, always with rear-wheel drive and outputs of 109, 132 and 150 kilowatts. Depending on the version, the usable battery capacity is 52, 58 or 77 kilowatt hours, and thus enables ranges of up to 537 kilometers according to WLTP.
Now, just as my colleague Emmanuel has mentioned during his test drive with the ID4, that was also equipped with the 77 kilowatt hour big battery and the 204 horsepower electric engine, the car is super silent, and that's also the case in here. Just as in the ID4, the Skoda engineers have done a really great job when it comes to insulating and dampening. Now, electric cars are always pretty silent, but in here, besides some wind noises coming from the A-pillar and your typical tire rolling noises, you don't really hear anything at all. So the ride comfort is super high in here, but you can feel the weight of the car. I mean, we're talking 2.3 tons. Of course, electric car, big battery that sits quite low in the car, so that's good for low center of gravity when taking some turns. But still, after the initial punch, when you start to accelerate, you really can feel the weight.
During our test drive, we drove the Enyaq iV80 with the most powerful electric engine of the 3 and the large battery. The same configuration is also available with the ID4. With acceleration times of 8.6 seconds and a limited top speed of 160 km an hour, the Enyaq isn't meant to burn some rubber on the drag strip, but more of an everyday family cruiser. People looking for more should probably wait for the 80X or even the RS version that are planned for later this year and will feature 2 more powerful electric engines plus all-wheel drive.
So while the ID4 and the Enyaq are tech-wise pretty interchangeable, the design definitely differs a lot.
Where VW created a whole new design language for their all-electric ID line that's very organic looking and with almost no sharp edges at all,
Skoda, on the other hand, they went the other route
and remained true to the proven and familiar design that makes the Enyaq clearly recognizable as a Skoda. But despite the many sharp edges, the overall chunkier appearance and the SUV meets station wagon crossover design, the Enyaq, which is just under 4.65 m long and around 1.62 m wide, has a drag coefficient of 0.27, which is even minimally better than its roundish brother, the ID4. Also, in terms of trunk volume, the Enyaq offers around 40 liters more than the ID4 with 585 up to 1710 liters.
Of course, in the end, it comes down to personal preference, which one you prefer, but personally, I like the look of the Enyaq more.
Depending on the size of the battery, Skoda offers charging capacities of up to 125 kilowatts for the Enyaq. At a fast charger, the largest battery can be recharged from 5 to 80% of its capacity in 38 minutes. At home, the Enyaq can be recharged with up to 11 kilowatts AC via a wall box. The charging process then takes 6 to 8 hours depending on the battery size.
Now, one topic the Enyaq does completely different than the ID4 is recuperation. In the Enyaq, just like in the ID4, you've got two driving modes, D and B, and in B you will always get the maximum level of recuperation, just like in the ID4, and in D the car normally will sail. But here in the Enyaq you also get these shifting pedals that you won't get in the ID4, and with these you can change the amount of recuperation in 3 levels, and I think that's a very nice feature. Of course, you could say in the ID4 that's the more simplistic system, as the car pretty much just tells you either get recuperation or you can sail. But I think giving the customer the choice is always the better way of doing this. Now, when we're talking about one-pedal driving, the Enyaq, just like the ID4, won't get to a complete stop when you take your foot off the accelerator, as it will always creep along no matter the level of recuperation you're driving in. So to come to a full stop when you are approaching a traffic light, you have to put your foot on the brake pedal.
To further preserve the range, especially during colder winter times when the heater is turned on, the Enyaq can be equipped with a heat pump. But just as in the ID4, that doesn't come as standard and is only available as an option.
Let's have a look at the interior, and for me that's one of the points, or probably the most important point, why I think the Enyaq is the better ID4. Don't get me wrong, the interior in the ID4 looks very nice, very modern, a little bit futuristic, but depending on where you look, you could find some hard plastic parts, and that wasn't the case with VW in the past. In here, on the other hand, if you take a look, you've got nice decorative stitching, everything is soft. It's just, I mean, if you would cover up this logo and have a look, you could think you were sitting in an Audi or something like that. It's really, really nice to look and to feel. So yeah, I just think interior wise the Enyaq is ahead. Plus, a big plus, thumbs up for buttons. Because yes, as I said, in the ID4 they tried to go this futuristic route, so everything touch, but well, it might look nice, but when it comes to functionality, it's maybe not the best. And it looks like Skoda thinks so as well, because here now you've got at least some buttons to quickly access, for example, the climate or change the driving modes. And also here at the steering wheel. In the ID4 here you had some touch sensitive surfaces that, well, again looked nice, but when you tried to steer you accidentally would touch them and, well, turn on the steering heating or something like this. In here you've got buttons, easy to use, and, well, that's the way to go, I think, at least.
Whether leather, sustainably processed or natural and recycled materials, for the interior design Skoda has opted for 6 so-called design selections inspired by modern living environments instead of the classic equipment lines. In addition to the 5.3-inch digital cockpit, the central display measures up to 13 inches.
I mean, from the outside, the Enyaq isn't that big. It's comparable to an Octavia, or it's even a little smaller than an Octavia, in fact. But in here you've got the space of a big Kodiaq or Superb or something like that. It's crazy. You should have all the space you really need back here. And of course, also back here you can find these little clever details, like for example a little pocket for your phone, a little phone holder when you want to watch a movie, and of course a 230 volt socket with 150 watts. That's enough, for example, to charge your notebook while driving. In the end, the Enyaq features everything that already made the ID4 a very nice electric car. Super silent, big battery, long range, high driving comfort, and space-wise everything you could ask for. In comparison, it comes down to personal preference. And as I said at the beginning, for me, things like the SUV station wagon crossover design, the quality plus buttons that might not look as modern but are definitely the more functional option, plus the option to change recuperation levels, and of course the price make the Enyaq the better ID.4.
Prices for the Enyaq iV start at 33,800 euros, which is 3,100 euros less than the cheapest ID.4, while prices for the largest Enyaq iV80, like our test car, start at 43,950 euros, and a comparable ID.4 Pro costs at least 44,450 euros.